How's everybody doing today? I certainly hope you're doing well. Today we're going to show you how it is that 3 months ago that we predicted with pinpoint accuracy that military troops would be on the streets in the United States. And if people don't know, Donald Trump came out today and stated that he was going to be federalizing law enforcement in Washington, D.C., with also accompanying them with military, the National Guard, so that way they can use those troops and such for law enforcement duties. Now, before I start this video, I'd like to share with the DNI or anybody else that may be watching this video. This is the binary message that I have for you. And I'm being totally serious. It's not a joke. And for everybody else, I'd like to share with you how we came to that specific date. And for all of you cryptographers in the United States Cyber Command, you will see that the equation was perfect in how we got to that date. It's really a mind-boggler. So I wanted to share that with the entire class so that way you wouldn't have to sit through an entire live stream for an hour and a half. You can see how I came to that exact date on how that would be. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. We're done with this, and let's go ahead and start with the main part of the video. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell, this video was put out. This was a live stream that was put out on May 4th of 2025, and the original title of this video was called August 12th, 2025, the use of U.S. military on civilian streets equals martial law. That's being the question. Would it be a martial law situation? But certainly on August 12th, 2025, the use of U.S. military on civilian streets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 3 instances of this video and explain to you why it is that I believe that at that time. And it is an absolute mind-boggler. So let's go ahead and go through it for about 2 minutes, or maybe about a minute, and then we'll go to at about 11 minutes for a couple of minutes, and then we'll go to 21 minutes for about 7 minutes, and we'll talk about what we said. So let's go ahead and begin at 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Through 3 minutes and 2 seconds.
Whether you believe me or not, it's not a lie. There's been instances where myself and a group of other conspiracy theorists have seen things laid out in the public eye, and we've called out what they're going to do before they do it and actually stop them from doing what they're going to do. Because there's too much, you see what I mean? Too much attention drawn to it. And then something really weird happens, and then suddenly it's just kind of canceled. Well, good for them. Good for them. Because you don't want a bunch of nobodies on the internet or the YouTube, predicting what the oligarchs or the frickin' elites are doing. They look pretty pathetic. A bunch of nobodies calling them out before it happened.
So, as you can tell there, that is true. There was an incident that happened around 2010, 2011, I do believe it was, and there was supposed to be a big shindig get-together. It might have even been later. It might have been 2014, 2016, but there was some sort of get-together that was supposed to happen, that did happen actually, at the Washington Monument. And a lot of coders got together and said, there's something wrong. This is a setup. This is probably an untrue flag, that sort of thing. And there was a lot of attention drawn to it. And because something was wrong with the picture. The person that was hosting it, there was some really sketchy things wrong with that dude. The day that they scheduled it, the people that were involved, the lack of security. I mean, it was really kind of crazy. And they did have that get together, but they cut it short. And they said that the reason why they cut it short was because of the heat, which was just absolute utter nonsense. So I believe the people that were involved in that operation, so to speak, we stopped something from happening. And that was at least one of the examples that I can think of. So let's go ahead and advance to 11 minutes and 12 seconds. Let's see what we can get there. 11 minutes and 12 seconds. Pretty close.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, anybody that wants to, please go check out this president.
Now, I did want to point out, YouTube was very kind to cut the audio, and you couldn't hear what I was saying. But at the time when I did the live stream, I was reading from the whitehouse.gov and that executive order that was posted there. You couldn't hear what the name of that executive order is, but I'll clarify that in just a moment.
As for law and order. In other words, they're trying to figure out a way to penetrate the Passa Comitatus Act. And what is that? Well, you see, there is this thing that essentially states that the United States military is not to be used for civilian law enforcement situations at all. Only in very extreme circumstances. However, the Trump administration has put out a directive for the top law enforcement officer, which would be the Department of Justice, Pam Bondi, to figure out a way to breach the Passa Comitatus Act to institute law enforcement on the streets of America. Now, why the hell would that be? And what is the duration of that? Well, that directive was put in place on April 28th. So that's going to bring you to when? April, May, June, July. By July 28th, there needs to be a bona fide work around the Passa Comitatus Act. Let me go ahead and read it to you, shall we? This comes from whitehouse.gov. Section 4, using national security assets for law and order within 90 days of date of this order, the Attorney General and Secretary of Defense, in consultation with the Secretary of Homeland Security and the heads of agencies as appropriate, shall increase the provision of excess military national security assets in local jurisdictions to assist state and local law enforcement. Why? Why do you need to use the United States military and all of its apparatuses for local law enforcement? For what? I'm going to get to that in a minute. Carrying on. B. Within 90 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Defense, in coordination with the Attorney General, shall determine how military and national security assets, training, non-lethal capabilities, and personnel can most effectively be utilized to prevent crime. Oh, I feel so warm and cuddly inside. BS alert, ladies and gentlemen. BS alert. Something is wrong. That means something is in the works that you're not aware of. That's what that means. Why would you give a specific date of 90 days from April 28th? 90 days out is going to bring you to July 28th. However, in the thumbnail and in the title of my video, I'm giving you a specific date of August 12th of 2025. Sure am. I'm very proud of it, too. You're like, how did you come to that conclusion? I'm going to show you how I came to that conclusion. I sure am.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you how I came to that conclusion that gave me the exact month, the exact day, and the exact year. And for all you cryptographers out there, for all of you code crackers out there, you know who you are. All of the hats in the land, all of them, including the green and the blue ones. This is a mind boggler, okay? But, honest to God, it's based on cryptography, and it's based on a commercial that Donald Trump was involved in 2012. So let's go ahead and go back in time from 2012 until 2025. How many years is that? Right? That's going to be, holy smokes. That's going to be 13 years ago. How could something be coded 13 years ago for something that's going to happen in 2025? But it is. But it has. Now, the message that I gave to the DNI at the very beginning of this video is very serious. That is not a joke. Now, what does this mean? Well, you're going to find out what it means. And here's the thing. Let's hope that part of it's wrong. Let's hope that it is. Let's hope that it is. And guess what? With the right people in place, with the right people that have the information, you can stop it. And you know you can. Okay? But let's go ahead and begin this mind blower at 2146. Let's go ahead and go there. Again, as you can see down here, ladies and gentlemen, this video was live streamed on May 4th of 2025 that explained to you how I came to the date of August 12th of 2025. Okay? You could say, well, Monty, the troops are going to be put in place today. No, the announcement was made today that that's what's going to happen. They have to do this thing called preparation. But hey, maybe they're on the street right this second. I'm not really sure. Okay? But here's the saying. Let's go ahead and go to 2146. And it will basically go line by line how we came to this bizarre conclusion of when this was going to happen. Okay, hold on a second. We're going to go at 2146. 2140. There it is right there. Dead on 2146. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I won't interrupt myself again.
All right, so Donald Trump had a contract agreement with CERTA. Let's go ahead and pull this up. CERTA. S-E-R-T-A. The logo for CERTA, if I'm not mistaken, is like a crescent moon looking thing. Or it's not, maybe it's like a moon looking thing with a little space in between right there. And back in 2012, Donald Trump put out some sort of advertisement under CERTA. And at the end of the advertisement, there was a sheep sitting over here that was the number 11, and another sheep over here that was the number 9. There's another sheep in between that was the number 1. Just one in itself, and then Trump was standing here and about. Now, what's strange about that is seeing that, now this is 2012, this is years before he was even to run for president. So back in 2016, he was voted in as president. His inauguration was on January 20th of 2017. So the 45th president is in fact 9. Now, under all of these weirdos, and I do mean weirdos, the European Union and these hotshots that are all about their weird-ass cults and nonsense, fairy tale garbage, they know under numerology, if you have the number 101, you eliminate the 0 and you have 11. They know that if you're saying 2014, you eliminate the 0 and you have 214. They know that if you have the number 100, you eliminate the zeros and you have 1. And they have told that to the public numerous times. Right? So, seeing that he was a 45th president, well, 4 and 5 equates to 9. That's a true statement. The funny thing is, during that CERTA commercial, where back in the back you have the sheep sitting up there that was number the 11. You had another sheep over here that was the number 9. You had another sheep over here that was 1. And then you had Trump right here. So if you think about it, number 1 would be 10. You eliminate the 0, that gives you 1. Whoopie Pants Biden was the 46th president. He certainly was. 4 and 6 is 10. Eliminate the 0 and you get 1. That's why the 1 is sitting right there. The 11, the 47th president, is now 4 and 7 is 11. Is he the 47th president? He sure the hell is. So now when you go to whitehouse.gov, you get to see this wonderful thing that says Trump up there, and it says 45 and 47. Oddly enough, when you merge this down, that's going to give you 9 and that. Is that right? Did I get that right? Is that right? I'm not making it up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me show you something. When you take 4 and 5 and 4 and 7, that's going to be 9, and that's going to be that. However, if you take 4 and 5 and you take 4 and 7, and then you separate these two, that's going to give you 8, 12. Just like that, buddy. Sure is. If you go side by side, that's going to give you 9. That's going to give you that. If you go if you go, let's say, crosswise, from 8 to 9 is 1. From 11 to 12, or 12 to 11 is also 1, which would be 2. Oddly enough, ladies and gentlemen, strangest thing, a time calculation of a certain day, which would be 2001 until 8/12 of 2025 is going to give you 23/11/2. 2300 military time is 11 o'clock. Did you know that? It's a true statement. Go ask anybody in the military field or anybody that was ever in the military. 2300 hours is 11 o'clock for sure. Which means 2311 is going to bring you to literally 11:11. Right? That's a true statement. The funniest thing is this here, 8/12 is also 11. 9 and 2 is also 11. That's 11/11, 11/11. I'm not lying. If you look at the time calculation, that also brings you to 25. That's also not a lie. Wait a minute, what? Well, hey, listen, I'm just saying, something's goofy going on here. You mean to tell me, from a CERTA commercial dealing with mattresses, that Donald Trump had a contract agreement with CERTA, and on that, on and on and on and on, with the Trump Tower and the hotels and all the BS, you mean to tell me that out of all... No, it's not.
Now, you see, YouTube was kind enough to cut my audio again. So what I'm trying to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, is at the beginning of the video, when I tried to explain what the name of the executive order was, the algorithm cut my audio. so you couldn't hear what I said. When I'm trying to make my statement here and to essentially make a very, important point, the algorithm cuts my audio again. Now, why would that be? Well, let's see if they cut my audio for me to post this video. Because here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's very, very possible, if the right people see this, the next move can be stopped. And I hope it can be, and I hope it is. Because if you think that Donald Trump made that announcement today on the 11th, and it was his announcement, you'd be wrong. Because Donald Trump didn't make the announcement today based on what he did. He made the announcement based on what somebody else did. You got that? So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is the big ball of wax. I hope you understood what has happened here. And I know it's a mind boggler. Anyway, that is the big ball of wax. I'm Monograph, and if you can't speak freely, you're simply not free. Have a good day.